Joining us via Zoom is the founder of Women Love Tech. Her name is Robyn Foyster. How are you, Robyn?
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm good. I've discovered that among your many labels, you've also become an ambassador.
So I'm a mentor for the Taronga Zoo Hatch Accelerator program, which is an amazing program, really, that they started last year and they just opened up to people to apply for. It's a grant, basically, a $50,000 grant for anyone that's got a startup that's doing something that is, sustainable, that's helping our planet.
That's not to be sneezed at. Did you say 50,000?
Yeah, that's right. So and what they do is they match you up with all these mentors that put you through an accelerator program, whether you win it or not. You might be selected as the Hatch team.
Yep.
For this accelerator group. And then people like Tim Middlemass, who started a great charity called 3 for the Sea, where they take plastic out of the ocean. He is one of the mentors. There's lots of great mentors. There's people that can help you fund your startup, and they've got people like me who can help with marketing and telling the story. But last year the winner was a company called Good Eddie, and they produce, you'll love this, an edible coffee cup to stop the waste of coffee.
Oh yes, so you can have your coffee and you can eat it too.
Yeah, you can eat it, or it biodegrades. So, like in a short period of time,
Yep.
or you can turn it into something like a plant pot or something else.
Okay.
But it does.
Here's the question for you, Miss Ambassador. Is it edible? Is it a good taste?
So it tastes a little bit like a waffle cone.
Hey, that'll do.
When you have an ice cream.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I like it. Good. No wonder they won. Congratulations. So they're $50,000 richer, are they? And
they're $50,000 richer, and they've obviously been getting all that mentoring from a lot of people, and I think it's a great initiative for Taronga Zoo because they have the conservation element at the side of the program at Taronga, and they do just incredible things there. So this is the second year. So the last year was the first part of the program, and now they're opening. They've got a story on Women Love Tech about how to apply, but they've opened it up this year to find these young people who've got incredible startups. I mean, one of the startups you'd love as well was called Poopaloop, which was instead of having plastic bags for dog poo, they had this other way of dealing with it. So with these garbage bins in parks. So some really interesting ideas.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like that idea, because that will mean that the people will not drop their dog droppings in a plastic bag in our bin. It's outside. It's terrible stuff. That's a shocking behaviour. And please, to those people who are listening, if they do that, stop doing it. You're better than that. Speaking of better than that, one of the things I've noticed, suddenly Apple have got very friendly. They're trying to make it. They're trying to make all those people who've hated Apple for years to warm to them, because they're making it easier now to go to a third party and get it repaired.
I know. Finally, they did a turnaround, because they used to obviously make a lot more money from us, all of us Apple users. And Australia, we by far buy apples in Australia, we're more than any other product for our smartphones. And, the nearest one that competes with Apple is Samsung, and they've got roughly, say, 20% of the market. Apple's got far more. And of course, Samsung was, taking popularity away from Apple for the simple reason that it was, easier to use. You could take it to a repair shop and have it fixed. Whereas Apple, you have to queue up and wait, and they charge you, through the nose for it. And they've changed that. They've allowed technical repair companies to actually fix your Apple phone by giving them the spare parts and the know-how to do that. Finally,
thank goodness for competition. Speaking of comp, there's this extraordinary explosion in data, and one of that bits of data is the one that surrounds us. It seems to me now that I wear a Fitbit. My shoes have got a special bit of technology that let people know if I'm walking in the right fashion. I've got a jacket that tells me if I'm burning enough calories. Now, of course, there's got to be a place where I can put my vaccination ID that'll get me into the airport and allow me to travel around the world. There's got to be an app, though, that'll be able to collect all of this information. Surely there's got to be some smarty out there that is going to release something and allow us to harvest all this data in one safe place that I can access when I need to, surely.
Well, there is. Let me tell you, George.
Come on.
There's
What's happening?
It's called the Wongy.
The Wongy.
It's called the Wongy app.
Oh, jeez.
The Wongy app.
I'll tell you what. The name I'm not so wrapped in, but if there is an app that does this, fantastic. When did it come into the marketplace? Yeah. What's happened?
It's a pretty new app, but it's basically an app that's a health management platform. You keep all of your data on it, and it's a godsend for all the doctors because everything's instant. You can keep a personal health diary. You can try. It's available. Wongy app is available on Apple Store and Google Play, and it's free for the first 30 days as a trial. But I think this is where health is moving. Where we're able to be more in control of our own health information. And so having it all in one platform for us, so if you've got multiple doctors, so you're seeing someone for, a shoulder injury and then you're seeing a specialist. And I hate to say this, George, but as you get older, you seem to see doctors more often, I've discovered.
Well, I'll tell you what excites me about this is the possibility you can have an MRI and then have that information available. And as you quite rightly said, you go to your physio or your doctor and they can access this. This is a tremendous way to harvest information that is really precious. But imagine the governments are telling us, and we're talking about World Health Organization and everyone else, is saying unless you've got a vaccination ID and it can be verifiable, you're not getting out of the country anytime soon. So again, if this thing can carry that sort of information on it as well, it's a must-have app.
Yeah, look, I think we're all going to have to be more in charge of our own health going forward, and so it's a great thing for us, a tool for us, and it stops all that paperwork, doesn't it? You can keep.
Robyn, we saw Telehealth during COVID, and how much better that was for all those people who couldn't get out and about.
Yeah, telehealth is a great thing. And, one of my clients has an aged care home, and she was doing a lot of telehealth because they couldn't obviously go to the hospitals. And it was better for the people at the aged care home because it meant that they didn't have to be away from where they live.
Well, the other thing you touch on there with aged care facilities, you can imagine now your daughter or your son having access to an app that allows mum and dad to have all their material on it. That's terrific. It's a resource that they can actually grab at a moment's notice. That's got to be plus. Speaking of pluses, I want you to tell me about something that I'm not so sure about: electric bikes. I always thought that bikes were good because it's a great way to stay fit and also a great way to get around. Now apparently it's only there to get you around. It's not about getting you fit at all.
So it doubles up, by the way. So the electric bike only kicks in when you get to that hill and you're not, you want to switch it over to the electric motorized part of it. So you use an electric bike like a normal bike, and it's for people who, love riding their bikes on the flat parts of the road. And then when they go up that big hill, they want a little bit of oomph behind them. You wonder why these sort of old ladies are going at the speed of knots.
We're talking to Robyn Foyster, who's the founder of Women Love Tech, and we're talking all manner of new innovation. Sorry, not new innovations. That's tautology. Innovations and ideas in technology. And one of the things that I've noticed very much, Robyn, we'll wrap this up now, and it's to do with podcasts. I can't believe how suddenly podcasts have become the go-to thing. Everyone seems to be accessing them, listening to them at any given moment in the day or night.
Well, that's what's great about them, is that they're so snackable, and they tend to sort of you can pick them up at any time, and they tend to be just that right bite size, and they tend to be something that it might be a niche interest that you've got a passion for. And I think it really is this sort of like era of the audio era, if you like, where everything, audible books and podcasts are really are becoming a very fresh new format of medium that people are really going to. I think with COVID, it's made a difference as well, because people who didn't explore podcasts before now have more time, and they've got recommendations from friends, and suddenly that we're flooded with a huge number of podcasts. And just recently, I interviewed the MD, Australian MD for Spotify. Her name is Michaela Lancaster. And what I loved about what she told me is that Spotify, obviously they have the big hitters on podcasts that are exclusive to their channel, like Michelle Obama and Brené Brown, and even as we know, Harry and Meghan have their own podcast now on Spotify called with their Archwell Productions. But Spotify is really keen to discover the local talent, the Indigenous talent, and they have launched a sort of accelerator program, which they did for the first time last year, where they've been scouting for talent here in Australia to really give them the fundamentals of how to produce a good podcast and then launch them on the global stage. And I think that is brilliant.
I've got to say I agree with you, and I must add that the arrival of Bluetooth, which allows you to listen to a podcast in the car or on your speaker, wherever you go, must also be another fantastic add-on, which has given podcasts such a huge boost. Robyn Foyster, as always, tremendous to talk about the latest things that are happening in technology. If people want to know more, how do they best do it?
Well, I'd love you to join my site, which is womenlovetech.com, and we've got plenty of tech news up there every day, and it's for men and women. But we obviously profile a lot of female women, women in tech, particularly in STEM.
Robyn Foyster joining us on The Informer. Thank you, Robyn.
Thank you, George.